Hello there. Welcome back to Star Wars in a Galaxy, watching all the Star Wars we can get our hands on. I'm Eli.
I'm Jacob.
We just ended our incredible fourth bracket stream that we will play after we do this segment of In a Galaxy. That was a blast. We had such a fun time. No spoilers, but it was such a fun bracket stream. We did The Mandalorian. It was great. But before we play that footage, Jacob and I wanted to talk about a certain trailer that came out past week that we haven't gotten to talk about. If you haven't seen, the first teaser trailer for the show Obi-Wan Kenobi came out a few days ago, and Jacob and I have thoughts, and we're just gonna ramble on about our thoughts for a few minutes or so. Jacob, I'll hand the mic to you. What did you think about this trailer?
Wow. I see a lot of promise, obviously. It really hit a lot of the beats that I thought it was going to. I love the way it opened. Some of the things that it sets up, amazing shots. Some of the things I thought we were going to get. I was not expecting to get the Grand Inquisitor, and I didn't particularly appreciate the way he looked. I thought they could have done a better job, but I think that topic has kind of been beat a bit to death at this point. So yeah, I really liked the way they put it together. The aging looks perfect. The music was incredible. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't have a lot of expectations going in. I don't have a lot of expectations as to what the show is going to be like. I'm hoping to just kind of take it for what it is and go from there. So really promising for me. I love the little monologue about the Jedi and how they leave the trail of compassion. So I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing this type of, I feel like this type of story, which we've seen a lot, the post-Purge, pre-True Rebellion era. We've seen that a lot in books and comics. I'm really excited to see that see this in live action though.
Yeah.
What do you think about this trailer though?
I thought this was the best trailer we got for Star Wars since Rise, since at 9, honestly. Nothing against Mandalorian, nothing against Boba Fett, nothing against Visions, nothing against Bad Batch, nothing against, Clone Wars Season 7 and all that kind of stuff. But specifically with the other live action shows we got, Mando and Book of Boba, I love them. Don't get me wrong. I love them. Something hits different about Kenobi. Just something feels different. It feels incredibly cinematic, which is always something that pulls me in because I will always be a films over TV shows person. No offense to the incredible work of the TV shows. I just feel like the Star Wars shines the best in its films. And this feels like one long movie rather than a TV show.
Yeah.
And, I love Mandalorian stuff. I love Bounty Hunter stuff, but this is Jedi stuff. And anybody who listens to the show knows that's where I live and breathe. As Alden Diaz would call it, the sword and sorcery part of Star Wars. It's a beautiful part, and it's the part where I spend a lot of my time thinking about Star Wars. And yeah, I thought everything about it was just incredible. I thought that it was incredible seeing Ewan back. I forgot how much I missed Ewan as Obi-Wan. I have the sort of kind of controversial opinion that Ewan was a better Obi-Wan than Alec. But I'm just so excited to see the blending of Ewan and Alec's stuff, and their personalities and their attitudes. I'm really excited to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a huge fan of everyone who's ever played Obi-Wan. So I'm really excited to kind of see you and not only make the character his own, but bring it full circle a little bit, bring it back towards the very original interpretation of the character. I think that's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, I thought it was just a vivid trailer, and I thought it was revealed so much. I'm so excited to see Inquisitors in live action. When we got stuff from other parts of Star Wars canon, we tend to forget that we got them in the content itself. This is the first time we ever, and I mean ever, have gotten live action stuff transitioning to live action in a trailer. Like, they were confident enough to say, yeah, you're getting Inquisitors in live action in a trailer.
Yeah. It was very, very exciting.
Yeah, it's an incredibly I cannot pile enough praise on the Kenobi trailer. Yeah, I think that just about does it for our thoughts on the Kenobi trailer. I hope you enjoyed the stream. As we announced on the stream, you'll hear this on the stream next week on Star Wars in a Galaxy. We're going to be sitting down with Jarod, who's one of the guests of our show's co-host, Mr. Connor Chikiti from the Nerd Academy podcast, and from all of his other stuff. Great guy, and we're going to be sitting down with him, and we're going to be doing some Star Wars tier lists. We heard that people really enjoyed that episode when we did that, so we're doing it. We're bringing it back, and we're bringing it back with a guest. Very excited to do that. And enjoy the stream. And until next time, may the Force be with you always. Okay, I think we're live. If we are live, then welcome back to Star Wars in a Galaxy, watching all the Star Wars we can get our hands on. I'm Eli.
It doesn't look like we're live. I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
I don't think we're live. I don't think we're live.
I hit the live button 15 seconds ago.
All right.
Very professional here on Star Wars in the Galaxy.
Only the finest content skills. Oh, there we go.
Live. We are indeed live. So
right.
yeah, welcome back to Star Wars.
There's just a little bit of a delay.
Welcome back to Star Wars in a Galaxy, watching all the Star Wars we can get our hands on. I'm Eli.
I'm Jacob.
And we're so excited. We have people from Nerd Academy and Blue Bantha Milk in the chat. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. We have another bracket stream to do today. We got a great load of guests. We're doing Mandalorian. Let me just load this up, actually. We have the Mandalorian bracket stream. We have the image right here. And we have some great guests. But before we get to those guests, I do want to talk about something that's very important to In a Galaxy and our values and all that kind of stuff. So due to the horrific laws that are going around Texas that are threatening to make the existence of transgender people a living hell. We are proud to partner with the Amidala Initiative. You can see it on the screen right here. It's a GoFundMe started by Star Wars community member Ben McDonald. You can go to the link. It's in the description right now. I'll even post it in the chat. And we encourage you to donate. We're one of the 77 shows sponsoring the Amidala Initiative. And we've raised $10,000 for Equality Texas, and our goal right now is $25,000. So go donate to that. I'm going to post the link in the chat right now. Trans Lives Matter and all of that kind of stuff. And with that being said, let's get our guests on. Why don't you say, Jacob?
Yep, let's do it.
Okay, first,
so excited.
Joining us for the second time on the show, we had him on as our second guest of the show in October of 2020. And I've been wanting to get this guy on for a while now. Let's welcome from the Nerd Academy podcast, we have Jarod, the Dark Jedi.
Hello there. I am so happy to be back. I forgot I was only guest number 2, which is really cool. I was like, oh yeah, that's sweet. I'm excited to be here. Happy also to be a part of the Amidala Initiative. Very important cause. What good is having a platform if you don't use it? So yeah, very excited. Very looking forward to some light debate for this stream.
Yeah, I'm very excited. It's gonna be a blast. Our remaining 3 guests are all from Pink Milk After Dark, the great show. We've had 2 of them on before in January of 2021. there's one new guest that's joining us, and we're very excited that they're joining us here today. But first, Mark, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me back.
We're excited to have you back.
My pleasure.
And finally, not finally. Next, we have the newest member of. Wow, my brain's just not working today.
Penultimate.
We have the
It
newest member of
happens.
Pink Milk After Dark. We have Chase. How you doing, Chase?
Hello, I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for coming, everybody. And of course, we have Emma. How you doing?
Hi.
Hi. Hey, everyone. Okay, I'm really excited to get started with this. So we have our in the description, and I'm going to post it right now in the chat. In the chat is the link to our bracket right here. We've all picked 2 or 3 episodes of The Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2. And the way this is going to work is everybody is going to have 30 seconds each to talk about why their episode is better, what they love about the episode and all that kind of stuff. You have 30 seconds. Don't like personal attack or anything.
Damn
We're going to. I'm going to give you a timer. The timer will go off. Then we're going to discuss it and we're going to vote. If there is a tie, we will go to the chat first. If the chat doesn't reach a consensus, then we are going to flip a coin. And either way, things are going to proceed. So first in our bracket, we have 2 episodes from season 1 of The Mandalorian. We have chapter 4, Sanctuary. Defending that is Jarod, and we have chapter 3, The Sin, representing that is Mark. And for every single bracket I'm just gonna have the person whose episode is on the top go first. So that's Jarod going first. Tell me when you're ready.
All right. You may fire when ready.
Go.
So this is the first of many Star Wars masterpieces directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. It is a Star Wars story that encapsulates one of the core themes of Star Wars, which is the little guy throwing their all against an oppressive overruler. We have these raiders that are attacking the citizens of this tiny little village, and we get to see Din and Cara Dune team up for the first time to take them on. We have the fun training sequence. We see the smoldering potential love interest going there. Wow. Okay, I gotta get better at that.
Yeah, it's always
That's hard.
Adjustment.
Damn. Okay,
It's always an adjustment.
I'm getting warmed up.
Yeah. Okay, Mark, you ready?
All right, let's do it.
3, 2, 1.
All right, so episode 3, The Sin. The first, it's the episode Deborah Chow does, which is she's the first woman to direct a live-action Star Wars project. We get the return of Connor. Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Pershing. And then Mando gets his Beskar, and we get the return of the armorer who gets to build it, and we get some Mando culture in there. It's a tight story, and we learn more about the code. And then on top of all that, yeah, leave it at that.
On top of all that, the time's about to run out. Glad you
On top of all
mentioned
that, everything I just said.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned our good friend Connor, Jarod's co-host on the NoCat podcast. Let's see. Please excuse lack of decorum. Okay. So the other 4 of us, then Emma, Chase, Jake, and myself, then we're going to discuss and we're going to say how we're going to vote. I can say how I'm going to vote. I think I have my decision, or if anyone else wants to go first, they can as well. I guess I'll go. So, both are great episodes. I think The Sin hits a little bit more for me in some areas. It's that dramatic, the dramatic tension of the episode works very well. And even though, like, that's one of the great things about The Sin is, even though I totally knew that he was going to go back for Grogu in the end, my heart was pounding every step of the way. So I'm going The Sin.
I will throw my vote to the Sanctuary because I love the angle that, first of all, Bryce Dallas Howard, Queen, always legend, mother.
Yes.
I love her more than anything.
I love her
Also,
so
it
much.
really does have that Star Wars feel of the small guy versus the big guy, right? And training the locals to fight over the oppression. So I got to give it to the Sanctuary.
Okay.
I also vote Sanctuary. I love Omera as a character. She's wonderful. I feel like I almost feel like the sin, the events of the sin, like that could have almost, like, the most important plot points could have been split up and put in other episodes. Whereas I feel like Sanctuary works better as like its own little bottle story, taking place on a planet that we've never visited before and meeting this whole culture and this whole society, you know, that sort of expands the world of Star Wars, that we meet them. And as I've said, Omera. And yeah, it's just like Bryce Dallas Howard, and it brings the heart, you know, like it was for a lot of people watching The Mandalorian, it was the like seeing Grogu being so cute and playing with the kids and that stuff. It was sort of the first time that they sort of felt their heartstrings pulled by it. So I feel like for people who don't normally watch like the action adventure genre, or who might not have been fans of Star Wars when they were watching it, like new parts of the audience, I feel like it appeals to them as well.
I love. I just want to button and say I love Bryce Dallas Howard as a director. She's my favorite live action director of Star Wars. And the fact that I think this is her weakest episode just shows how good her episodes are, because this is very good and they only get better.
Fair enough.
I co-sign that completely.
Yeah.
Jacob,
Oh gosh,
might cast the deciding vote.
This is a tough decision. You know, a lot of good points made on both sides. Ultimately, I think just for how tightly constructed the entire episode feels and how much it just keeps me on the edge of my seat, I am going to go with the sin. So we are going to have a tiebreaker.
We're going to sudden death, as we call it. Everybody, Sanctuary or the sin. I'm going to get the coin flip ready, the virtual coin flip ready.
Let's not blasters at dawn. Okay, fine.
I wish this is what I wish I had done since our last stream. Mr. Alden Diaz brought on his chance cubes. That looked like the boy blew his mother. Let's see. First of all, hi Alberto. And second of all, we have the sin from Blue Bantha Milk. I'm going to close the voting in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and the sin is advancing by the skin of its teeth.
I'm just glad it didn't go. I listen, I will take that L. I just didn't want it to go down in a coin flip.
Coin flip's going to be a little rough if it comes to that.
That was a close one. I think this is not going to be an easy one. We have next one is the two co-hosts of this show. Jacob and I are going head to head. Jacob has the premiere episode, The Mandalorian, and I have the penultimate episode of the first season, The Reckoning. I'm going first because mine's on the top, but okay, here we go. We get the incredible team-up mission to defeat Moff Gideon. We see Grief's hero turn to be a good guy now. We have the incredible speech from Moff Gideon at the end. You have something I want. That is one of my favorite speeches in Star Wars of all time. We have incredible action. We have incredible 501st Legion. They came in. They were the stormtroopers. And this episode is just a masterpiece, and it's well constructed. And that was my time. Trust me, as much as it is stressful for all of you, and I'm sure it is to like constantly thinking, because I can glance at the timer, just I'm like, okay,
you can
here's
pace
how much
yourself.
time I have left.
You can pace yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Jacob, whenever you're ready.
All right. The Mandalorian. In my opinion, this is just the perfect introductory episode You've got some great one-liners. He can bring you in warm. He can bring you in cold. He battles an ice monster. He battles dudes. He freezes his bounty in carbonite. He does it all. I really like the world building of the Empire and of Mandalorian culture and his mysterious sect post-Endor. Also, a little bit of Quill and IG-11 action in there. And Baby Yoda right at the end with the amazing twist. I mean, what's not to love? I feel like this is just a really well-rounded episode.
That was a very good timed one. Sometimes we get ones that are really well timed. We've done that on the stream before.
That was good timing. Yeah.
Okay. So our 4 guests, what do you all think? The Mandalorian, The Reckoning.
I think I have to give it to episode 1. I didn't think I was, but I think I am now, because you're right. The way that it was all set up, and like all the Star Wars tie-ins and the twist at the end and the tableau of like, their hands sort of meeting, Din and Grogu's hands meeting. I mean, it's just too iconic for me to pass up. So I give my vote to the premiere.
I think I'm going to go along with you. I think I am going to be leaning towards the first episode. If only because, The Reckoning's great, but The Reckoning and the season finale both kind of bleed into each other so much that, like, there was a moment there where Eli's calling all of these amazing moments, and I was like, oh, damn, I thought that was in the finale. I thought it was in the finale, too. Oh, I thought that was in the finale. Yeah. So I think that the first half of the episode where they're traveling through the desert kind of lends itself to be slightly forgotten, where every moment from the pilot of The Mandalorian has become iconic. I can bring you in warm, I can bring you in cold. The key kills the guy with the door, the Mithril, the first meeting with, as you said, Quill, Grogu, and IG-11. I got to give it to The Mandalorian.
Same. I give it to The Mandalorian for the same reasons. Like, especially as Chase mentioned, that iconic shot at the end. That's just one of my favorite shots in Star Wars ever.
Mark?
I'm going to give it to The Reckoning just because it's a different episode again. And I just liked a lot of what it was setting up and what was about to come. Plus, we get, what's his name? Quill, babysitter. So, yeah. And IG-11, we find out that he's reprogrammed. So it just, there's certain things in this particular episode that I absolutely love. And then it has a really heartbreaking ending. So, yeah. And that dramatic punch is what makes it a winner for me.
Yeah. Thank you for keeping me from being clean swept, Mark. But indeed, The Mandalorian is moving on. 3, 2, 1. And next we have The Prisoner from season 1. That is Chase. And then I'm back with my personal favorite episode of The Mandalorian, The Marshal. I'm very excited to talk about it.
Nice.
So, Chase, whenever you're ready.
Way to line up a bunch of queer people to debate against Cobb Vanth. That's just unfair.
Also,
look, nobody asked for it.
Hell, Eli.
I need to also go on record and say this is the sportiest thing I've ever done in this fandom, and I'm living for it. I have never done a bracket in my life, and I am ready to fight.
I love it.
Okay, can I just start when I'm ready?
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, chapter 6, The Prisoner. It's a really uncomfortable, seedy, like scary underground vibes that we get in this episode. Overall, it's a huge history lesson on Din and who he was before Grogu, because we meet all of his like past chums. The music hits really hard. We get a New Republic presence, which is really, really fun to have. Mando's dad energy really starts to peak with his protection over Grogu. The sets, the costumes, the makeup, so many different alien species we get, not only in the main crew, but also the prisoners that we see in their cells. It's all like a horror movie. There's shots of like, oh my God, behind Mayfeld, there's Din like walking, and he just gets closer and closer to Mayfeld. And Grogu's hand, when he does the hand thing, he looks at his hand, he's like, did I just kill Zero the droid? I don't know. I got lost at the end, y'all. I got so panicked at the end.
You dismounted it better than I did. So
yeah, like just jumping.
Yeah.
Just jumping ship.
The bar is on the floor for me. So.
Okay, here we go. Round here, I'm the one who tells folks what to do. We get the introduction of Cobb Vanth from a few chapters in the books to a TV show, paving the way for Black Krrsantan, paving the way for Bo-Katan and Ahsoka. Cobb Vanth was here first, and he did it better than a lot of them. Cobb Vanth and Mandalorian go on a huge rollicking adventure with some KOTOR flashbacks, some great cinematography, and maybe Jon Favreau's finest work in Star Wars to date.
All right.
I hate that these two are pitted against each other because my earlier joke stands. But also, for me, The Prisoner is the most underrated episode of the whole series. I love it. I love The Prisoner. I think the big Batman energy that Din has with the lights flashing and that cutaway of Mayfield just screaming "No!" Is so good. But the Marshal is kind of the Marshal feels most like what the Mandalorian was pitched to us as, and you know this is that is the most space western this show has been. You know, it checks so many iconic, you know, kind of tropey western boxes. And again, the introduction of Cobb Vanth, I do have to give it to the Marshal, but by a very, very razor thin margin. I'm sorry.
You make a great argument.
So I'm going to vote for The Prisoner because it's so genre bending, which I think is such a brave choice. And I also find that it was very brave of them to put the New Republic in the light in which it was put in that episode.
Yeah.
Not as an unequivocal good, which I think was really great way of introducing ambiguity into a universe that is very sort of black and white. Also spite against the Marshal for killing Tuskens for comedic effect, which really rubs me the wrong way. And
that's like true. That's very true.
I feel was a very icky choice. Yeah, those are all my reasons. There you go. I vote The Prisoner. High five, Chase. Internet 5.
Okay, Jacob or Mark, either of you?
I'll go. I'm kind of ambivalent about both these episodes. You know, both of them, for me, they have their ups, they have their downs. I'm not the hugest fan of either one, but I think I'm going to go with the Marshal because I really like the space western vibe, and I really like that we got some of that hardcore space western kind of episode that the show was kind of constructed or portrayed as before it came out.
Mark, deciding vote.
All right, so The Prisoner is kind of one of my least favorite episodes, even though I came to appreciate it a lot more later. So I'm going to give it to the Marshal. I just really loved it. It was just such a great way to start off that season, and we got to see a lot of things that I didn't think I'd get to see on screen. So it just, yeah, I love the action despite its problems, like Emma said. But yeah, I mean, we got Timothy Oliphant in Star Wars, man.
Sorry, Chase. Sorry, Emma, but sometimes both suns shine on a womp rat's tail. The Marshal is going ahead.
Nice.
I quote that line. I quote
Spam
this
chat
episode,
for Cowboy Eli.
I quote that line like way too. I quote that episode way too much, just generally. Here we go. I was really worried for a second because there's been a history of me having episodes that I've loved in go out in the first round of the bracket and look close for a second for me, and I'm like, oh no. The next we have season 2 episodes, 2 back-to-back episodes. We have The Tragedy and we have The Believer. Jarod and Mark are going at it again. Jarod is doing The Tragedy and Mark is doing The Believer. Jared's going first, so tell me when you're ready.
Go. This is the episode that made me and so many other fans finally give a damn about Boba Fett. You introduce an iconic character who's iconic for standing there, and you give him this very complex moral dichotomy. You don't quite know if he's light side, dark side, somewhere in the middle anymore, and it helped spawn a really cool spinoff series that I think a lot of us here quite enjoyed as well. The action is incredible. Robert Rodriguez's direction is remarkable here, and it is one of the coolest action set pieces season 2 gets to see.
Okay, Mark, when you're ready.
All right, let's go. Episode 15, The Believer, directed by Rick Famuyiwa, and it is an amazing action-filled episode. You get the return of Mayfield. You got me to care about Mayfield. That's a huge feat because I didn't like the character very, very much. get the fire spray in it. You get to see this from the Empire's perspective, and you're rooting for them, which was such a weird thing to see and for me to like feel. But I loved it because you kind of get the perspective from both sides. And seismic charge.
Oh.
If no one else wants to, I'll go first. If no one else minds. I've been trekking you, Mandalorian. It's the tragedy. Come on.
This is so hard. This is so hard. I think no, I can't even go. I'm still thinking, still processing. Sorry, it's way too close to my brain.
It's good.
This
It's
is
all
so
right.
hard.
Jacob, Emma.
My brain's still loading on this one. I gotta think about this for a second.
So both, it's really difficult for me to choose because both episodes were emotionally moving in their own way.
Mhm.
Like The Believer was so it was so thought provoking and really engaged you like on that level, and like getting you to question things as you're watching it and not just being passive. Whereas the tragedy, like especially seeing the destruction of the Razor Crest, was such a gut punch. Like, so both of them had like this emotional resonance, but I think I'm going to give it to the tragedy because Fennec Shan's hair is iconic.
We also got to give it up for again, I'm making Jared's argument for him, but we got to give it up for Mando's Din's total obliviousness. This is the Seeing Stone kid. Are you seeing anything?
Does this look Jedi to you?
It's like you might as well have been poking it with a stick. Come on, do something.
I think I also have to give it to the tragedy because it really does start off with a pretty like high note where he finally has like done what he's been trying to do and what we've been watching them try to do, which is like go to this final boss battle to get him to Jedi. And then it's just ripped away from us on top of the ship being destroyed, on top of Boba Fett with his knee rocket launchers, which is a highlight for me. So I got to
pave the way for the like work bitch pose.
Yes,
and
literally.
the
Yes.
Boba Fett.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go for. I think I'm gonna have to go for the tragedy as well. I think Chase, like you said, just had seeing Mando put in that position, just going from triumph and so much potential and excitement to all of a sudden kind of just the lowest of the low is really fantastic and gut-wrenching. And you get the Razor Crest in there as well. Like, yeah, they say like if you want a good story, hurt your characters, make them hurt. And this really is proof of that, I think.
Yep.
So, Mark, I'm so
I think
sorry.
Dave
to say this.
Filoni has a tramp stamp of that. I
And,
think that's
and
his-
finally,
I think he does.
and finally, there was Blue Butterflies, which is the song of my people. So.
Well, there's that. Yes.
Oh.
Also,
Yeah.
he found the little the little silver ball, the metal ball, and the ashen ruin of the
ball,
Razor
yeah.
Crest. Are you kidding?
Oh, yeah.
God.
Mark, I'm so
That
sorry
hit.
to say you have been clean swept. It's the first clean sweep of the
It's
stream.
all good. As you said, that's a tough choice, man. I wouldn't
Yeah.
have wanted to vote for either one or the other. So
It's hard.
scared
no,
me.
and I think that to Mark's credit, The Believer. If there's any episodes of The Mandalorian that probably work best as a double feature, it's the tragedy and The Believer.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
those two,
Mhm.
they're really two sides of the same coin. Especially when you look at like our reintroduction to Boba being immediately followed by the reintroduction to Mayfeld. And Mark's episode also has one of the best jokes in the whole show.
Are you going
What about you? I think they might recognize my face.
Yeah.
Which is just marvelous.
We have next our bracket. We have the 2 episodes of The Mandalorian directed by Peyton Reed. We have The Passenger, which is defended by Jacob, and The Rescue, which is defended by Jared. I have Jacob going first with The Passenger. So go ahead, do the Frog Lady episode.
Okay. Look, I know this is a tough matchup. I know it looks bad, but hear me out. This is a poignant story. This is heartbreaking and heartwarming all at once. Frog Lady trying to get to her husband, trying to save her lineage. I mean, this is really, it just pulls the heartstrings for me. You know, and you got some crazy spider action. Although if you don't like spiders, I can't help you there.
Okay, that's okay. Jarod, just whenever you're ready.
To invoke Luke Skywalker would be cheating, so we're going to put that off to the side. My opponent is the episode where Grogu commits a genocide for lunch. Let's pass up that moment in the series' lineage to talk about the heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, heartwarming goodbye between Din Djarin and Grogu. Those little moments. He's finally moved to the point where he removes his helmet to say goodbye to his little friend, his little son. I can't watch this episode without crying hysterically, and if you can, you should see if professional.
I feel like it's startlingly on brand for me to vote against my co-host, but I'm going the rescue.
Yeah, me too.
I too am going to rescue.
Yes.
We can tell.
I'm going the rescue as well too. Just because I was a mess.
Oh my gosh.
Such a mess.
Hey,
I was a mess at 1 a.m.
I agree with Buck in the chat. I also think the rescue is the better of these two.
Yes, I agree. The rescue is better.
That's our second clean sweep. I remember there was one of the, I think I was doing Sphere of Influence, and I think it was versus Shattered. And I was going up against Shattered. I'm like, okay, look, you just got to go Shattered. I'm arguing against it, but you just got to go Shattered. Okay, we have 2 Dave Filoni directed episodes of The Mandalorian. Next, we have Emma is doing The Gunslinger. I am doing The Jedi. I'm going first with The Jedi.
Nice.
Okay, here we go. The Jedi is the Jedi is Star Wars at its technical peak. We have the beautiful matte paintings and the beautiful cinematography of that episode. We have the incredible direction that Dave Filoni gives to it. We have the samurai-esque feel of the action. We have Ahsoka Tano giving it her all in her first live action appearance, something we've all been waiting for so long. And this episode culminates in just an incredible experience of Star Wars. Okay. Tell me when you're ready, Emma.
I'm ready to go now. All right.
Okay, go.
So Gunslinger is it's a vital episode because it expresses like what a bounty hunter is, which in a way, and it displays like the importance of that role and what being a bounty hunter is like. And it shows us how singular Din is in his adherence to a moral code. It's also the of Fennec Shand and Pelimato. Yep. That was me timing myself.
Professional.
I appreciate it. Okay. The other 4 of you. Go ahead.
I think I have to give it. I was going to do Gunslinger, but I think I had to give it to the Jedi just because it was one of those episodes that I had to watch a couple of times to really get into it. But that's why I appreciaed it. And like the whole reveal with where is Grand Admiral Thrawn was pretty great. The whole like battle between Ahsoka and the Magistrate, is that the character's name?
Yeah.
That was just everything to me. So I think I have to go with the Jedi just for like the action, like you talked about.
The Magistrate, who I can never seem to remember the name of, it's Morgan Elsbeth. I always seem to forget that.
Yes.
She's got a name like a Salem witch or something, right? It's kind of an interesting name.
Oh my god!
I don't know why I always forget her name, and it annoys the heck out of me.
Gotta love Star Wars names. Let's just name her Beelzebub. Okay.
The first name is B.
Yeah. The Gunslinger is the Iron Man 2 of Star Wars TV. It is the unsung, not as bad as people like to say it is, building blocks for greater stories down the road. Without the Gunslinger, you don't get the Book of Boba Fett, which is a very cut and dry reality. Unfortunately, it is pitted against the first live action appearance of a fan favorite character in a beautifully choreographed duel. Ahsoka's raid on the Magistrate's Fortress is an incredible scene. Watching her again, I'm coming back to it, that like almost Batman style, like stalker in the night moment we get with her, both in the forest and inside the fortress at the end. As you had said, where is Grand Admiral Thrawn? That is just such a moment. Yeah. And it is aged like fine wine watching that episode again. So I am going to vote the Jedi.
I am also casting my vote for the Jedi. I agree that the Gunslinger is underappreciated. I really like what it does with Tuskens, how it sets up for future stories. But yeah, the Jedi was just, it was too well done for me to give the nod to any other episode.
Is that everybody?
I'll go next.
Mark. Sorry.
And so, what everybody said here about the Gunslinger, there is so much set up in this episode, and even though I'm thirsty for Toro, I got to give it to the Jedi. Ooh. So, because it's Filoni's baby. I mean, it's just like we were watching his imagination just get thrown on screen, and it just was gorgeous to look at. And that scene with Ahsoka and Grogu alone under the moonlight, that sealed the deal for me right there. I will never forget that moment. It was gorgeous.
I got to say, I was a defender of the Gunslinger when it came out, and I still think it's very good.
It is.
The Jedi, I got to just say, like, I said before, the Marshal is my favorite episode of The Mandalorian. I will stand by that. But I think, in my opinion, the Jedi is the best episode of The Mandalorian.
Nice.
In terms of, So I got very lucky with my picks there. Next, we have two other hard-hitting episodes. First, Chase is doing Chapter 11, The Heiress. And Emma is going against them with Chapter 8, Redemption. This is the craziest round one bracket, I think, of all of them. Chase, when you're ready.
Directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, we have the drama of the crash landing of the ship on Trask. We get the effects are amazing. The AT-AT crane pulling the ship out, the calamari and the cable knit sweater. We get the reunion of the century with Frog Lady. We also get to see like Mon Calamari and Quarren coexisting in live action, which is amazing. We get Bo-Katan. We get the Ahsoka name drop. We get the Death Watch reveal for Din. We also get Bo's mission to find the Darksaber, and also we get to see the intensity of the Empirical remnants. That's all.
Okay, Emma, when you're ready.
So everyone went wild for this episode when it came out. Like, it hit so hard, especially the sacrifice, and and obviously like having to say goodbye to Quill. It was seeing Din's face for the first time on the show, like so many impactful moments. I just feel like, and it's just so Star Warsy, stormtroopers everywhere, peril, and finally the relief of the rescue of the child and feeling like we've, won the day. And Darksaber. I should have just said Darksaber for 30 seconds, honestly. That's what I should have done.
I'll say this. Emma, I'm sorry, but I think you're gonna have to go put some tea on because I'm voting for the Heiress.
It was such a niche quote to use.
I love that quote. It's such a great one. Put some tea on. We'll be down in a minute. So quintessentially Bo-Katan.
You're right, and again, to the credit of Redemption, everything. Emmett said, sans Darksaber. It is an incredible episode, and I think it is the perfect finale to season 1. I am gonna have to I'll go with the Heiress. I do think there is so much great world building, and for a very personal reason. Whenever the show had first come out, and everyone was asking, like, "What's up with this stupid new helmet rule?" I called exactly why Din was wearing his helmet the whole time. I knew he was in a cult. I knew this was some weird fundamentalist crap that happened with the Mandalorians post an Imperial genocide, and I was right. And this episode confirmed it. So for me, I'm going to be incredibly vain and vote the Heiress because I'm petty like that.
And Mark, are you?
I'm gonna go with the Redemption. Actually, because again, Darksaber. And the action was fantastic in this episode. It was a great ending for that season. I mean, it's just like everything had just built up to that moment, and it just hit right. So yeah, Redemption it is.
Jacob, I think you have the deciding vote.
Yeah, I have to go with Redemption as well, even though there are parts of the Heiress that I really love. Again, like the world building, the intensity of the Imperial Remnant. I think it says a lot that even though Bo-Katan is my pet peeve character that I just really can't stand for whatever reason. We all have one. Look, I'll admit it.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
Like I know Eli, I know you've got Maul. I've got Bo-Katan. I really think this was a great episode. It was a great way to bring her into the show, even though I don't like her presence. I respect it, even though I don't agree with it. It was really well done. I loved seeing Mon Calamari and Quarren coexist. I thought that was a really cool touch. And it became a knit sweater, of course, the sweater of Mon Calamari. That like made my whole year when I saw that. But despite that, I think the finale, it just hit so hard emotionally. It was just beautifully executed. So I got to give it to Redemption.
I'm going to count down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Get your comments in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The comments are saying we go with the Heiress. So we're going with the Heiress. Again, very, very tough fight, and I didn't expect any less from this one. It's the hardest one, I think, of the first round. Of course, our decisions in the second round and on are only going to get harder, unfortunately. But we have our
I just want to break in real quick to say, Eli, it makes me so happy to know that your pet peeve character was Maul because mine is Savage Opress. So,
I also hate him too.
You get it. You get it. You get it. That's one of my favorite moments in Clone Wars. So good. So good.
That episode.
I will say his death scene is very good. But Maul, Jacob and I, again, if you have not listened to Jacob and I talk about in our last episode of season, I think it was 8 of In a Galaxy, where we talked about brothers and how much I despise that episode because I really do. Okay, we have the child, and we have
Clone Wars must be so hard for you at a certain point.
Yeah,
just those two for like
really
a season and a half.
I'm with Buck. I'm with Buck here in the chat. Savage did nothing wrong.
I agree.
Did nothing wrong.
I love
Hashtag Savage did nothing wrong.
Savage did nothing wrong. King Katunko would disagree with you.
Okay. He did King Katunko dirty, and King Katunko's my boy, so that one did hurt a little bit.
I am sorry, but I would be going with the Republic. We have chapter 2, the child, which is Emma, and we have chapter 12, the siege, which is Jacob. Or as actually, I'm not going to make that joke because that's going to reveal my biases. Whoops. Okay, Emma, when you're ready.
Let's go. Okay, so The Child is such an important episode. Like, it shows the basic premise of the whole show, which is that Mando is like washed up and he is not not cut out to be a bounty hunter. He almost loses to a mudhorn, and he gets electrocuted and thrown off a sandcrawler by a bunch of tiny Jawas. Like, that's just pathetic and sad. So he needs a reason to live, and he gets one through this child to which he owes a life debt. And that is a powerful story. The end.
Okay, Jacob, go
All
ahead.
right.
Just go ahead.
The Siege, this for me, this is one of the best heart pounder episodes. First off, we get to see a Star Wars school. I always like the little slice of life world building moments. We had some awesome action in the Imperial base, really cool, creative ways to kind of up the stakes, keep the action fresh and interesting. Amazing visuals. Love the plot twist, peeling back the layers of this mystery with the vats.
Drink,
and Harsham's
everybody.
message.
We have a thing. We have a thing. Drink when Jacob says peeling back the layers. It's become his catchphrase.
Everyone has their tapestry,
Yeah.
Wait, if we say that 2 more times, rumor is if we say that 2 more times, Alden Diaz will join the stream. Rumor has it. Yeah. If anyone wants to go first, I have mine. If no one wants to go first, actually, I'll just go ahead. The Siege is a mess, honestly. No offense to the Siege. I'm not a huge fan of that episode. It's just kind of messy. The child has some beautiful cinematic moments. The entire fight with the Mudhorn is just beautiful, so I'm going the child.
I'm also going to go with the child. I think that the Siege has some of my favorite action in The Mandalorian. However, it is, I'm going to say the F word and not the one I say on my show a lot. It's the only one that I think you can really say is filler. That really does, like the main crux of that whole episode is they got a tracker on the Razor Crest. And it's a plot development that you can either write around or just have happen anywhere else. Whereas the child is required watching for the Mandalorian. It is everything, I think that there's something that is so profound about the Mudhorn scene, about Din's quiet resignation, where it seems like he's like, all right, well, this thing's about to tear me up, so it was a good run, I guess. And Grogu saving him, it is just so Star Wars, and the Mandalorian doesn't often get to dip its toe into like the deeply philosophical force element of Star Wars, and this is one of the times where the Mandalorian dives headfirst into it. So my vote lies with the child.
I will say there's one other thing that plot development in the Siege that I think probably does matter, but the problem is we haven't gotten the payoff yet, which is the tank.
Mm-hmm.
That tank is, and again, it's like a minute, and you can easily skip, I feel like, the rest of it, but yeah. Chase,
I'll go next.
I was just going to say that I thought the Siege does have really awesome. I think that really the action is some of my favorite things in Mandalorian, like you said, Jarod. I think I like that. I'm just going to give it to the child. I mean, because it, again, the Force stuff that you're talking about, I think is really hits it on the nose. The music is gorgeous. Every time I think about the child episode, I think of the concept art, which I think is just really powerful. Like, it speaks to like the tableaus they were able to hit in that episode. It also, I love how simple it is. But like there's deep like emotional things that are happening throughout the whole episode, even though like plot wise it might read a little bit simple. And that's my favorite type of storytelling. So definitely have to give it to the child.
So I'm gonna, as much as the Siege, I enjoyed it for. Carl Weathers did a really great job. It was great to see his episode and the way it all came together and how he was kind of being grandpa to Grogu. So I love that. But the child for me just hits because it was just after what was set up in the first episode, you got to see his kind of grand adventure, and then the Jawas scene was fantastic, and then you get to see them blown away was hilarious, even though it shouldn't be. But yeah, and then the Mudhorn scene was fantastic too. So it just that one is one of the ones that sticks out the most out of that whole season.
They make such a funny noise when they get vaporized. It's not your fault.
So that is a clean sweep. We have ended our first round. We have so we just jumped into our second round, which is the first and third episodes of The Mandalorian, The Sin and The Mandalorian. We're narrowing it down. The Sin is Mark and The Mandalorian is Jacob. I have The Sin on top of the bracket. So Mark, when you're ready.
All right, so I get to defend this again.
Yep. That is as far as it goes.
All right, let's see. Go ahead and hit it. This episode again is just one of the best in general. Just learning more about the code, and then you've got the Mando cavalry scene. I mean, that's just one of the most amazing scenes I've ever seen in Star Wars. There were tears running down my face when I got to see all that. And it's a tight story. It's a lot packed in, and it uses its time wisely, and that's why I think it's a very strong episode.
Okay, Jacob, when you're ready.
Yeah. Like I said before, I think The Mandalorian is kind of the perfect one episode self-contained story. It gets us started out really well. I think it's perfectly paced. It doesn't really get ahead of itself, but it really just moves through the beats with a real sense of urgency, which I really appreciate. It doesn't languish at all. And it's the perfect blend for me of kind of action. And for The Mandalorian, it's the perfect blend of like badassery and also vulnerability, which I really like.
Now we get into the tougher decisions. I'm trying to think. I think I might need some more time on this if anyone else wants to go, because this one's a hard one.
I think because... See, this is why this is so difficult, is because this is one of the episodes that you truly don't get without one of them can't exist without the other one. And like the Mandalorian walks so that the Sin can end with the jetpack. I gotta go the Sin just because this is where we truly see Din, do like the Campbellian hero's journey thing. And make the hard choice and realize he's going to have to continue to make that choice. So I think I'm going to go Sin. I think I'm going to go the Sin. I'm going to go Sin. That's what I'm going to that is the exact verbiage I'm going to choose in this moment.
I agree with Jarod that it's a very hard one to go for, but I think I made my decision. The "you spilled my drink" scene from the beginning of The Mandalorian is one of the most iconic scenes of modern Star Wars. And for that reason alone, I think I have to go with The Mandalorian.
I also will be going with The Mandalorian, just because I think that, again, it hits its moments really, really well. The whole episode breathes well. It's paced well. And like you said, I think it has a lot of action and a lot of heart at the same time. But it's hard because it's like the Sin does have like the development that really gives it a lot, and he has, Din makes choices that he makes that like affects his whole life and the lives of so many people around him. So it's hard, but I think I'm going to go with The Mandalorian.
I'm going to go with the Sin because The Mandalorian was a great introduction to the character, but the Sin was what showed me why I should care.
Ooh.
That's a good point.
So we are going to sudden death yet again. I think a phrase we're going to hear quite a bit these days in this. I'm going to count to 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Sin is moving on by the skin of its teeth.
Nice.
Right. Well deserved.
Hey.
It's a fantastic episode. I really can't
you know
complain.
what? Good on you for not making your entire argument. He killed a guy with a door. I yield my time. You could have done that.
Yeah.
You could have, yeah.
Yeah. That was again one of the toughest ones of all of them. We have the first and 6th episode of season 2. We have the Marshal and we have the Tragedy. I'm going first with the Marshal. Here we go. Tatooine, I don't know her. We get a whole new version of Tatooine in this episode. We have Freetown. We have Mos Pelgo. We have, the KOTOR-esque feel of killing the Krayt Dragon. We have Cobb Vanth and the members of Freetown and Boss Pelgo showing us a different slice of life on Tatooine, the very Western feel, as people have been saying before. We just get a whole new look at a planet we thought we were so familiar with in the Marshal, and that's why it's awesome. Okay. Jarod?
Yeah.
Okay. When you're ready.
While the believer may feel like KOTOR, we see the tragedy reintroduce planets from KOTOR with Tython, with Grogu's pilgrimage there. Again, this is some of the coolest action we've ever seen in Star Wars, and it is so much a unique scene. We don't normally see action shot in this way. And while the Marshal is an incredible feat in the cohesive storytelling of the new canon, this is something that truly stands out and stands on its own in terms of its world building with pre-existing material.
I do gotta say, before anybody votes, unique location, Jarod, I could drive 30 minutes and see something like the tragedy. No, I'm joking. The tragedy was shot.
I could turn on any Star Wars and see Tatooine.
Yeah. I the tragedy is filmed very close to here, so
I remember hearing about that. Yeah, no, you're good. That was funny.
I remember specifically like on the highway, like looking out. I'm like, wait, that's Tython. Yeah. Any of the four of you, Jacob, Chase, M, Mark?
This one.
This is hard. You know, as much as I love the Marshal, I'm sorry, Eli. I'm gonna have to go with the tragedy. It just hits so hard. But yeah, you can't knock the Marshal either. I mean, it's a solid episode, but yeah, I'll take tragedy.
I think I'll also take tragedy just again for the emotional. It just threw my heart around the room, and I love the investment I had while watching it. It also is like the Marshal's a really clean episode. I think it's really streamlined and well done. But when I think of like what's more iconic and what comes into my mind faster and what I can draw up visuals for, it's the tragedy.
I'm gonna vote for the tragedy as well. Yeah, it's just a lot of good action and a good gut punch.
Mm-hmm.
It's like leaves you in a good cliffhanger.
Yeah, I vote for the tragedy for the same reason. And I mean, I love Cobb Vanth as a character, and I'm really glad that he's, part of the world that we get to see on screen. But I found that the storyline of that episode was just so cliched and so like it was just a really fun, I'm sure it was a really fun exercise to work in that genre for the director and for the people that were making the episode. But as a viewer, I was just like, give me something new. Like just shoving Star Wars into this template is just not original, and I'm not having fun. Except for when I'm looking at Cobb Vanth and admiring his.
Yes.
Who's not having fun? Yeah.
Fair,
when you're looking at that.
Fair point, Sam.
I can think of one very blue man who could answer that question for you.
Okay. Well, I just got clean swept in the second round. Okay, here we go. Luckily, I'm in the next round, so I'm counting my blessings on that one.
Yeah.
Of course, who am I against the second time? Jarod again.
Hello there.
The rescue.
Oh, yeah,
go ahead, Jarod.
So, since we're talking Jedi in this round, let's talk about the fact that we get to see the legend of Luke Skywalker finally brought to us in live action. This is the roundabout Jedi. As a staunch fan of The Last Jedi, we get to see the legend Luke was talking about. We see him use the Force in this masterful, combative way that results in my opinion, the best action sequence in The Mandalorian, because it is an action sequence that is so foreign to this format about bounty hunters with blasters, and we see some of the compassion that drives his character to The Last Jedi.
The poetry.
You'll move.
The poetry, the cinematography, the language. We get to see Grogu finally learn his name. Grogu knows his name, but we finally learn Grogu's name. We finally see a new level of bonding between Din and Grogu. We see the elegant fluidity of how this episode moves, and we get Morgan Elsbeth. We get her enforcer, played by Michael Biehn, and this is just such a beautiful episode and such a poetic episode. I guess you could say it's like poetry, you know. It rhymes.
It rhymes.
I thought you were gonna say the poetry. It rhymes, Eli. When I heard you say the poetry, because I know you're a huge fan of that.
I
quote
that
to be fair.
way too much. Okay, here we go.
It's tough.
The same 4 people: Jacob, Emma, Mark, and Chase, deciding.
Do it again.
Faster, achiever. I'll go first. The rescue. I'm gonna go with the rescue. It's hard, but it's just I wasn't expecting to see Luke at the end of that damn episode. I mean, even when that X-Wing flew up, I was like, no, come on. I was like, really? Is this really gonna happen right here? And then that hallway scene, obviously mirroring his pops in Rogue One. I mean, come on. It just blew everybody away. And again, that emotional punch at the end. I mean, just the fact that I was watching Star Wars so late at night and crying my eyes out, because it was just so much to process. And I couldn't forget this episode for a long time after I had finished watching.
Yeah, I'm also going to have to say the rescue. I remember when I saw the X-Wing coming in, I just got the chills, and my hair was on end through the rest of the episode and beyond. Like my dog, I was watching my dog Ahsoka, and my dog was literally just like, "Are you okay?" Like, my dog was kind of nervous because I was not okay. I was like, very emotional.
We were not okay.
The answer is no.
Yeah, the answer is no, and neither are you. It was just everything. It was epic. It was something that I never thought they would do, and I never thought they would be able to do it so well. So I got to give it to the rescue for sure.
Yeah, I also vote the rescue because, well, for that incredibly emotional moment when Din is saying goodbye to Grogu, that is just great storytelling. And also, I mean, it was very satisfying to see, Bo-Katan and her friends like take over the bridge of an Imperial operation. Like that was great. And the tension of like what's going to happen with the Darksaber and like all these questions that it raises. Like I found it so thought provoking, and I just really engaged with the storytelling of the episode in a way that I didn't with the Jedi. And I mean, as nice as it was to see, honestly, my favorite part of the Jedi was seeing Morai. Like,
yeah,
and as nice as that was, like, it's not enough meat on the bone for me.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I got to give it to the rescue. I can't not give it to the rescue. Such an incredible episode. The biggest moment for me, I think, even more than Luke returning, just Din and Grogu. And when Din, he takes off his helmet, that moment, it was just like, oh my gosh, am I going to be okay after watching this? Like, am I going to be able to go about my day? The answer is no, of course. So I'm giving it to the rescue.
So let it be known that multiple people before this bracket had told me how stacked of a lineup I had for defending, including Jarod, by the way, how great of a lineup I had defending. I have gotten clean swept twice in the second round. None of my episodes made it past the quarterfinals. So again, nothing that we're predicting. Like I was predicting that my episodes or certain episodes were going to make it further than they did. Nothing you predict on these brackets, nothing is safe, is what I'm trying to say. Which is, so I'm just in disbelief right now. But okay. We have
this is payback for those questions you wrote, the Bombad trivia.
Hey, I'm not the one who didn't know Elfrona, okay?
I'm gonna reach through this screen in a second, Eli. We're gonna leave Elfrona right there.
We have Chase doing the heiress and Emma doing the child. I have Chase going first.
Oh my god.
Whenever you're ready, Chase.
Okay, again, I have to reemphasize Mon Calamari and Corrin living together. Also, we get the ship scene with Grogu getting thrown into the mouth of the beast. The ship scene also is amazing special effects, as we can see in the gallery series. You also get the line, they couldn't hit the side of the bantha about stormtroopers. The action, the boarding of the Imperial ship, like they think there's at least 10 of the pirates boarding the ship, but there's only 4 of them, and they're Mandalorians, and they're fucking badass, and they know they're screwed. It's so epic. I yield my time.
I just want to mention that we have, and I don't know if any of you saw this meme when it came out, it's one of my favorite Mandalorian memes of all time. We got the experience of how it feels to chew 5 gum. When the Imperial officer
yes, he bites down on the thing.
How it feels to chew 5 gum.
Oh god!
How if what's the TikTok one where it's all out of order, where it's like how it gums to chew 5 feels. Like,
oh my god!
Oh, I love that so
simulate your
much.
Semsa Black, or whatever they say.
Okay, Emma, go ahead.
Yeah, so the child, I mean, all of this time that we get to spend with Grogu and seeing the wonder of the Force being wielded for the first time on this show, and wondering, like, what is his motivation for depleting himself for this person? The beautiful mystery of that, the comedy of opening up the Mudhorn egg and just like scooping it out, like all of that trouble for this trash piece of junk food, like basically like Star Wars equivalents of a Big Mac. Like that's amazing. Iconic.
Okay. I don't know. It seems I have a weird thing about voting against episodes that Emma's defending. I swear it's nothing against you, Emma. But
it's okay. I felt the same way earlier. I was like, I have it out for her. It looks like, and I hate this. I don't want to vote against Emma.
But
it could just be that I'm bad at arguing.
No, I think you're. I think you scare me. When I'm against you, I get nervous because Emma's brain is beyond what I can conceive.
I think you got a bunch of episodes in a very tough position. I'm sorry for that. But anyway, I'm gonna give it to the heiress because Katie Sackhoff gives, I think, her greatest performance in Star Wars in that episode. Everybody else?
I'll go. I'm gonna give it to the child. So still stands as one of my favorite episodes. I love the things that are set up, and seeing that Mudhorn floating after Grogu does its thing is just an insane moment. Because again, we obviously keep comparing the character to Yoda, and we're seeing that there's more than a few similarities, and we wonder if it's because of that particular alien race or how they were taught. So still we don't have the answers to all that. I love it that there's still so much left to be learned about that little character.
I think I do also have to give it to the child because The Mandalorian could be the story that happens in any fictional universe, any whatever. The thing that makes it distinctly Star Wars are moments like what happens in The Child. Moments like the Mudhorn, where it is just so steeped in the magic of the Force that it makes it feel so Star Wars, and there's just that magical moment that happens there. I am leaning the child, but good God, the heiress is one of my favorite episodes, and it is a very, 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 very difficult sticking point there.
Jacob, I think you have the deciding vote.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm doing this, but I gotta go with the heiress. As much as I loved the child, as magical
I just want to take a second.
Emma,
look what you've done. You've made Jacob vote for Bo-Katan.
No, Emma.
That was a joke.
You made me appreciate the episode in a lot of new ways with your arguments, but the heiress was just too epic of an episode for me to go with a different episode.
Okay, everybody put your comments down. We are going to sudden death. We don't currently have any comments for who's proceeding, but I will keep an eye on them. If it gets
I
to
really
a
hope
point,
this one doesn't go to coin flip. That would
yeah,
be
I'm gonna
these are
say
two
like I don't
tremendous
want to do it,
episodes.
but I will do it. Oh, okay.
Child.
Ryan is maybe
Brian.
pulling this out.
No,
Wait.
no. Oh, what have you done? Oh,
10.
Love you,
boy.
Buck.
9, 8, 7.
Someone
6,
comment right now.
5, 4,
Please,
My partner's
3,
supposed to be watching Blake.
2.
Say something right
Blake,
now.
please.
We are coin flipping. This
Oh.
comes down to it.
Oh,
Actually, wait.
no.
Actually, wait. Okay, here we go. Emma, call heads or tails.
Tails.
The heiress, by the skin of its teeth, in our closest matchup of all of them, the heiress advances.
Yeah. Even the audience is split on this one. Wow.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Damn.
No, that was-
damn.
Agonizing me like he always does.
Here we
That was
go.
wild.
That was crazy. We are going to the semifinals.
Oh,
We
boy.
have the sin and the tragedy going up against each other. The sin is
Ooh.
Mark, and the tragedy is Jarod. Well, we're actually, I gotta say, the two of you are going up a lot against each other these days.
Yeah.
Mark, go ahead with the sin first, whenever you're ready.
All right. Let's see. We get Werner Herzog back. I mean, just to hear the man talk is just amazing. He just chews up the scenery. Paz Vizsla, we get to see that character as well. And again, just taking a deeper dive into see what is left of Mandalorian and how these folks are living together, I think is important in what sets up later. The cantina scene is fantastic, and then just seeing all those bounty hunters come after Din and Grogu was a pretty cool scene.
Oh wait, shoot! Sorry, I forgot to. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, it's okay.
We're good. We're good.
Yeah, and I'm good. That's all I have to say
Yeah.
about the episode.
Go ahead, Jarod, when you're ready.
The sin is beautiful because we get to see Din want to take back the decision he made to give Grogu up for his bounty. The tragedy is watching Din fall apart whenever Grogu is taken from him after he's decided to be his father and guardian. On top of all the great action and everything we see there, we see truly just how deep the bond between them has grown. Between the moment where they're in the cockpit of the Razor Crest for the last time, playing with that silver knob for the last time, as it would seem for the moment, we see their love really take root.
If anyone wants to go first, that's cool. If I have my decision. Okay, I guess I'll go. It's hard. I'm not going to say it isn't, but the tragedy.
I think I'm going to say the tragedy because of this. Well, I think now I'm nervous, but that's when Din is like, "I'm going to come get you. You have my child," right? That's that episode. Where he's talking directly to Moff. Or is
No,
it
that's actually
after?
not. That's the believer.
Okay. Thank you. Well, then I need more time to think because I cannot remember that.
No, I got those two.
That would have been a deciding factor.
And I remember specifically, speaking of Jarod, you were talking about your thing where you called the whole thing. I called the "You Have Something I Want" from Din. Jacob, if you remember, I think we were talking with Devore from Legends of the Force. I specifically said, I think I said Bo-Katan, but like, imagine if somebody says that back to Gideon.
Yeah.
Before it happened, and I'm like, oh my god,
It's an incredible moment.
So good.
Yeah.
Ooh, chills.
Okay. Emma or Jacob?
Kudos to Mark for bringing up Werner Herzog because I love him. I love everything about him. He's wonderful.
see the baby.
If you ever
See the baby.
if you ever heard his story about why he hates to speak French,
Oh my
it's the most
god!
bananas thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Have any of you not seen that? Right now, have any of you not seen? Chase, go watch that. I remember I saw that and I then showed Jacob it. It is the most fun I've ever had watching Werner Herzog talk.
Okay, I can't wait.
And it's
Wild. Beautiful.
Oh.
It's so wild. He is an enigma wrapped in a mystery. Like
he is incredible. He's an
Anyway,
incredible human being.
But having said that, I do have to give it to the tragedy, just because, like Jedi Tython weirdness, like that's my jam.
Yeah.
And although the Sin is one of my favorite episodes of season 1, the tragedy just for me just like pressed so many of my buttons. I gotta vote for that one.
Ace or Jacob?
I am so torn here. I am so torn. These are both tremendous episodes. I think the tragedy brings us so much in terms of the richness of the world that it creates, the characters that it brings in, the plot lines that kind of come to fruition, and the way Din has been developing. And then, oh gosh, I mean, the Sin is incredible as well. Din making that decision, going back, altering his life, altering Grogu's life. Man, I'm gonna have to go with the tragedy, but it's really, really close. It's really, really close.
I love the Sin because it really offers a lot of. It feels like sort of Star Wars animation almost, when all of Din's Mandalorian siblings come and rescue him. Like, it really feels like Star Wars animation, and it feels so epic. And again, it's so aptly titled. Like, the way that it's called The Sin has always been one of my favorite parts of that episode. You really get like the heaviness of what Din has committed and what he's done. It's so hard. I think I'm gonna give it to this. I think I'm gonna give it to The Sin for the world building and character development.
And we have our first episode for the finals, which is the tragedy. And it is going up against either the rescue or the heiress. Jarod and Chase. Jarod, whenever you're ready.
The rescue is one of the most interesting structurally in terms of the Mandalorian, because everything goes according to the plan until all holy hell breaks loose. You have them just run and gun through the light cruiser. Din hits a quick snag, taking out the dark trooper, and then boom, we got the baby. We took out Gideon. Cool. Oh shit. Oh no, he has the Darksaber now. Din's now the rightful ruler of Mandalore. Oh god. Oh no. Oh god. Oh no. The dark troopers are back. All hope is lost. And then you have the ultimate hope in the galaxy save the day.
Okay, Chase.
I will say that that Darksaber drama you're talking about, it starts in episode The Heiress. We get all these bigger this is a bigger episode. We start to get subplots of Bo-Katan wanting the Darksaber. We also see a really huge shift with Din and Grogu's relationship from like pet to child. He tells him, "Don't play with your food." He stabs that little like squid thing out off of Grogu's face, which is really cute. He also drops him off with Frog Lady Babysitter and says, "Behave, you know what I mean," because Grogu just eats those eggs. So a lot of the relationship stuff between Din and Grogu for me is what's amazing. Plus everything else I already talked about.
This one's a very, very tricky one. Again,
Can I
all
also
of these
tag my previous argument onto mine? Can I also do that little maneuver?
So, by the skin of its teeth for me, both episodes are master strokes in Star Wars television. But it's the rescue for me. Just barely.
Yeah, as amazing as the Heiress is, I got to go with the rescue. I think it's just so much more momentous in what it means for the show as a whole, the characters, and just Star Wars at large.
Yeah, I also vote the rescue for those reasons, like for the larger story implications, and and as has already been discussed, like that incredible echo of Luke eliminating the dark troopers in the same way that his father eliminated all those lovely people. in Rogue
You
One.
can spend
Lovely
hours
people.
unpacking that though.
You really could.
Like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you can really do like it's like poetry, it rhymes, and like, like as a Jedi pacifist, well, I mean, he kind of looks just like Darth Vader right now.
But
There's a
like
lot
he
to
also
unpack
doesn't.
there.
He destroys droids. He doesn't kill organics, which like,
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a lot there.
By the
sorry,
end,
Jacob,
those
I
are some
spaced.
pretty brutal
What
kills
did you
even
vote?
for a droid.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Jacob,
Well,
sorry, I spaced. What did you vote?
I voted rescue.
Okay, got it.
I'm also gonna go with the rescue. Yeah. I'm
Clean
good with
sweep.
that.
I would have gone with the rescue.
Yeah, that was tough.
I was nervous. I was
and we have-
scared.
And we have our finals. We have our finals. Wait. So we have a problem.
Please tell
here.
me this is the first time someone's done it.
Is it? I think
This
it is.
well, yes. This far, yes. Jarod,
Remember when I said know thy enemy earlier?
Jarod has gotten to the finals of both sides.
Jarod
So
versus Jarod.
one of us
Yeah.
is going to have to take it. This is what we've done in the past. One of us is going to take it.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this very quickly. I'm gonna go to do a randomizer. Because all of you are up to doing either one of the episodes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to ask a random number generator to pick a number between 1 and 5. And the person who it picks is gonna be the one who does it. Okay, here we go. 3. Emma. Which one do you want Emma to have, Jarod? Which one do you want to
I'm keeping the rescue because it's my favorite episode of this show.
take? Okay, so going first in this round, Emma with the tragedy and Jarod then with the rescue. Okay. Here we go. Go.
The tragedy, like such a hard-hitting episode of Mandalorian. As I said before, the destruction of the Razor Crest, the rescue of the Silver Ball, and the symbolism for the relationship between Din and Grogu. That article of faith that they're going to see each other again. And that's what's been carrying us through the show and getting us invested in the show, right? Like even when he was taken by Luke, people were like, "Well, are people still going to watch if Grogu's not there?" It's a seminal piece of storytelling.
Okay, Jarod, when you're ready.
All right. The rescue, to steal a phrase from M, the rescue is seminal Star Wars. It is everything that is Star Wars in one episode. It is the highfalutin action. It's the space dogfights. It's the shootouts. It's the space western. It's the mysticism with the Force. It's Jedi badassery. Luke cleaving his way through the Dark Troopers. And again, it is that emotional core of love and family and that deep, heartbreaking goodbye between Din and Grogu. I yield my time.
Again, very tough one. I will say there are some that are tougher than others. This one is not as tough for me as other ones were. But for everything that happened because of this episode, I feel obligated to go for the tragedy. Yeah.
I'll go next. Yeah, this is tough. These are two fantastic episodes, but
I mean, for my money, they're the best episodes of the show.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
I as much as I love the rescue, I think I have to give it to the tragedy just because there's just so much there, and what it builds up is super important. Yeah, let's go with that. For sure.
I'm gonna have to go with the rescue. I think it's just it's an amazing finale. I love it so much.
Ace, you're the tiebreaker.
Why did I go last? I was just so deep in thought. I don't know.
No pressure.
So I really love. I'm not voting yet, but I really love the rescue because I think one of my favorite things about it is like what we kind of hit last round is that you can take almost every single moment of that episode and write a dissertation on it. And I think that's insane how they're able to pack so much into that episode. Thematically, and I don't know. I think okay. I think I have to go with the tragedy because the tragedy really showed us what was at stake, which we hadn't felt at that time. And this episode, I think, was hugely emotionally like moving. The rescue was like very emotionally moving, but the tragedy was emotionally moving. And it was the most unbalanced I felt as an audience member. Like I didn't know which way they were going to go with it, where I could maybe have some assumptions with the finale throughout watching that episode, where not with regards to Luke Skywalker, but like I had some assumptions like, oh, like, you know, I felt a little bit safer. I felt more taken care of because I knew it was a season finale. So I knew that there was going to be a sense of finality to it that was going to bring me comfort. For the tragedy, it left me on the edge of my seat and feeling very, very uncomfortable and very, very nervous. Even Boba Fett was like scared. He was like, oh, I'm not doing that. That's a death trap. I'm not doing that, you know? So I got to give it to the tragedy for the sheer drama.
And we have a winner. Our winner of the bracket is indeed the tragedy. Fun fact, unfortunately for also Jarod, but unfortunately for the rescue, even if we were going to a tie.
Oh.
Wow.
So, yeah, the tragedy I feel like a shock to me, has won the bracket.
That's cool. I like it.
It's great. Congratulations to Jarod for absolutely proving all of us wrong with, you know, just the dominance that he proved in all of this. Let's go ahead. Jarod, you want to plug your stuff?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so like, am I still technically like the winner of the stream? Like that's all I care about. That is all I care about.
Yes, you're the winner of the
stream. Coming for you, Scotty. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552. And you can find the Nerd Academy podcast on wherever you listen to podcasts and also on our YouTube channel. Right now, we are in the throes of Bat Month. We have our review for the Batman up. We're doing the Dark Knight trilogy on Teen At Movie Club. And I believe the last episode, I'm going to stop slapping my microphone eventually. I believe the last episode of Teen At Proper the month is going to be an episode about the philosophy of Batman on screen, which will be with previous bracket competitor Alden Diaz. So tune in for all that and our Star Wars show, Knights of the Nerd Republic. So, yeah.
Mark, what about you next?
All right. Well, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at I am El Diablito, and you can find me on Friday evenings on Pink Milk After Dark with these two beautiful people, Chase and Em. And just so if you tune in for the next few episodes, we are actually making our way through the sequel trilogy. We got The Last Jedi up next, so check that out, folks.
Why do you guys have to be live on Fridays? Why do you guys have to be live while I'm at that shithole bar slinging drinks for racist dipshits? Why? I may have won this battle, but I've lost that war.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Chase?
You can find me on YouTube at That Gay Jedi. Also, Pink Milk weekly live streams on Friday nights. And you can find me on Twitter at _That Gay Jedi.
And finally, Em.
You can find me on Twitter at Hutsleia, HUTTS, Ship who you want. All ships are valid, especially Storm Pilot. You can catch me with the Pink Milk Crew After Dark Fridays at 9:30 on YouTube. Please, subscribe to the channel, click like, leave a comment, and come join us in the steam room. We'd love to have you.
Before I plug In a Galaxy, I think I probably should mention this part, and I think I'm gonna announce this. Jacob, if you don't mind. But the winners. So Jarod is going to be back. We're inviting him back because he won this. We're inviting him. We're inviting him back with Mr. Andrew Geha from Outer Rim Reads and the great Marie Wilson from Afra's Artifacts, who won our last 2 bracket streams.
Oh, cool.
That's a good group. Yeah.
That's so cool.
We're going to do one more bracket stream. The winner of that, Jarod, Marie, and Andrew will all do a super mega bracket with all the winners. It will be the 2 of us, Jarod, Andrew, Marie, and then whoever wins the next one. TBD on both of those, but we're thinking this is again TBD on this idea, but we're thinking maybe the background characters is going to be the grand bracket because it's going to be ridiculous. But anyway, yeah, you can find In a Galaxy at In a Galaxy Pod on Twitter, at Star Wars in a Galaxy on Instagram. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. We'll be there. If you're not, email us swinagalaxy@gmail.com. Next week, this is where I'm making an official announcement of doing next week. What we're doing next week, we're having Jarod's co-host of the Nerd Academy podcast, Mr. Connor Chikiti, on the show. We are Jacob and Connor and I are going to be doing some more tier lists. We're going to do some Star Wars tier lists. There's going to be a lot of interesting debate on that episode. And I think, by the way, subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the notification bell to get the notification when we do future streams, whenever we do that. And I think that is it. Donate to the Amidala Initiative. May the Force be with you always.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Later, guys.
Later.